Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're tackling a question quite a few of you have asked. Is NetEase a good time to buy right now?
NetEase. A big player.
Exactly. We've gathered insights from several different analyses to try and give you a really comprehensive picture of this digital giant.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
We're going to look at its financials, its position in the market, valuation, of course, and, what the future might hold.
Yeah.
The goal is to help you decide if it aligns with your own investment goals.
Makes sense.
And hey, if you find this discussion valuable, please do remember to subscribe, like it, maybe leave a comment. We genuinely love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely.
And if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into next time, just let us know in those comments below.
Good idea.
And if you're feeling extra generous, maybe consider buying us a coffee. It really helps support the work we do here.
Always appreciated.
Okay, so let's dive in and see what the sources reveal about NetEase. To kick things off, let's just establish the basics. Who is NetEase, fundamentally? What makes them tick? What's the core story we need to understand?
Well, what's really fascinating about NetEase, I think, is that they're a true powerhouse in China's digital economy. They're much more than just a games company, which is what some people might assume.
Right.
They're a major content and internet and technology firm. Their portfolio is remarkably diversified. You've got the popular mobile and PC games. Yes, that's a big part.
Their bread and butter, maybe?
Definitely a huge part. But also robust music streaming, online education platforms, various other internet services. It's quite a wide web.
So definitely not a one-trick pony. They've got multiple streams of income. How does that diversification actually play out in their financial health? Are they generating solid revenue, good earnings? Or does having so many fingers in different pies maybe complicate things?
No, it actually seems to translate into a really robust financial position. The sources are pretty clear on their strong performance. For the trailing 12 months, NetEase reported, get this, $15.31 billion in revenue.
Wow.
And $4.77 billion in net income. Pretty substantial numbers.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you look at their most recent quarter, Q2 2025, revenue grew 9% year over year. Their core game revenue jumped an impressive 15%.
So gaming is still accelerating.
It looks like it, yeah, showing sustained strength there. And this strong performance also led to a 30% increase in operating profit. That reflects improved margins across the board.
Better efficiency then.
Exactly. And beyond the top and bottom lines, their financial health is further underlined by really strong liquidity ratios. Quick ratio of 2.99, current ratio of 3.21.
Can you break it down? What does that mean for an investor?
Sure. Basically, it means they have plenty of easily accessible assets to cover their short-term debts, like almost $3 in liquid assets for every dollar of short-term liability. That's a very strong financial cushion.
Okay, so stability, resilience.
Precisely, which is valuable, especially in, a dynamic market like China tech. Plus, they generate high free cash flow, they keep total debt low relative to their cash holdings, and their return on equity is almost 27%.
27% ROE, that's impressive.
It is, and return on invested capital is over 21%. These numbers basically tell you how effectively NetEase is turning shareholder money and invested capital into actual profit. They're really quite efficient.
Those numbers are undeniably strong. Growth, efficiency. And they even pay a dividend, right? That often signals a mature, stable company.
Yes, they do. NetEase pays an annual dividend. Currently, the yield is around 2.09%, so it offers a steady, albeit modest, return to shareholders on top of potential growth. The recent ex-dividend date was May 30th, 2025, just for anyone tracking payouts.
Got it. So with all that success, what about the competition, especially in China? We know the regulatory environment there can be, unpredictable sometimes for tech firms. Is their gaming segment really holding up that well despite those potential headwinds?
That brings us to a really critical point. Despite those tighter Chinese regulatory environments that, have definitely impacted others in the sector.
Yeah, we've seen that.
NetEase's gaming segment shows a really powerful competitive advantage. They seem to excel at both in-house game development, creating their own hits, and also third-party licensing.
So they make their own and bring in popular games from elsewhere.
Exactly. That dual approach helps keep user engagement high and revenue growth consistent. And what's interesting is how their diversification across digital entertainment services acts as a significant buffer.
Ah, right. Like you said, not all eggs in one basket.
Precisely. If one area faces pressure, others can potentially pick up the slack. It helps them navigate those regulatory challenges. They've shown they can adapt.
Okay, so NetEase isn't just playing games. They're playing them very profitably, and they're strategically diversified. But, as always in investing, even a powerhouse can be a bad buy if the price isn't right.
The eternal question.
So let's shift from the balance sheet to the marketplace. Are investors paying a fair price for this digital empire? Or is it maybe trading at a premium because everyone knows it's a success?
Yeah.
How do those valuation metrics stack up right now?
Right. Connecting this back to whether it's a good time to buy, valuation is absolutely key. Let's look at the ratios. NetEase is trailing price to earnings. The PE is around 17.42.
Correct.
The forward PE, looking ahead, is about 15.20. Some sources cite a slightly higher trailing PE, maybe closer to 19, but it's in that ballpark.
Mid to high teens, basically.
Yeah. Their price to sales, PS, is 5.41. Price to book, PB, is somewhere between 3.85 and 4.24. And price to free cash flow, PFCF, is a pretty healthy 13.16.
Okay, those are the numbers. But for someone trying to make sense of it, how do these actually compare to competitors? Is NetEase looking cheap, expensive, or just average?
Good question. When you compare NetEase to its industry peers, its ratios look, well, moderate. Yeah. For instance, its PE is much, much lower than Take-Two Interactive, which is way up at 93. So on an earnings basis, NetEase looks cheaper than Take-Two.
A lot cheaper.
But it's a bit higher than Tencent Holdings' PE, which is around 20, though that comparison is a bit nuanced given Tencent's scale and scope.
True.
Similarly, its price to book is higher than Tencent, but quite a bit lower than some U.S. peers like Take-Two. So the overall picture suggests NetEase is, let's say, reasonably valued within its sector.
So not deeply discounted, not crazy expensive, kind of in the middle.
Exactly. It's not trading at a bargain basement price, but it doesn't seem extremely overvalued compared to its immediate competition either. Comfortably in the middle seems about right.
Okay, so fairly valued, maybe leaning slightly towards reasonable, but is fair good enough, especially considering the, inherent risks with Chinese tech stocks? What do the analysts predict? The folks who study these numbers for a living, do they see much upside from here?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Analyst consensus price targets for NetEase, they range from about $115 up to $140. The average target is somewhere around $121.50 to $122.71.
Okay, average around $122-ish.
Right. Now, here's the kicker. As of August 22nd, 2025, the stock price is actually $131.89.
Wait, the stock price is higher than the average analyst target?
Yeah. By about 7–8%. That's a crucial signal, I think. It suggests that much of the good news, those strong fundamentals we talked about, might already be baked into the current price.
Already priced in.
It seems like it. So for someone looking for a quick, significant jump, this implies the market has already factored in a lot of the optimism. A big immediate pop might be less likely unless there's some unexpected major positive catalyst.
Right.
And that forward PE in the low mid-teens kind of reinforces this view. Fair valuation, maybe, but not obviously cheap, implying limited immediate upside based on these traditional models.
Okay, so fundamentals look good, valuation seems fair, maybe even a touch stretched, given the analyst targets. That brings us to the crunch point for many investors.
Yeah.
Timing.
Always tricky.
Especially for those maybe looking at shorter-term possibilities.
Yeah.
What are the technical indicators saying? What's the market itself telling us about NetEase's stock behavior right now?
Well, looking at the charts, NetEase has traded in a 52-week range between roughly $76 and $141.50.
Big range.
Yeah. Currently at around $132, the price is actually near resistance levels. Those are points where the stock has previously struggled to move higher.
Hitting a ceiling, potentially.
Potentially, yeah. Recent price action has been pretty tight, mostly bouncing between $130 and $133 or so. Key support, where buyers have tended to step in before, looks to be around the $120 mark.
Right.
While that resistance, as I said, is up around $140 to $142, reflecting those previous peaks.
And what about the trend? Is it moving strongly, up, down, sideways? What's the momentum like?
The 50-day simple moving average, which gives a sense of the short-term trend, is currently $131.93. The price is basically sitting right on it.
So kind of neutral in the short term.
Exactly. It's like the stock is pausing, maybe consolidating, trying to decide its next move, not making a strong statement right now.
Okay.
However, the 200-day moving average, which reflects the longer-term trend, is down at $108.26. And importantly, it's trending upward.
Ah, so the bigger picture is still positive.
That's what the 200-day suggests, yes. A positive long-term trend. Now, the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, is at 58.05.
Middle ground again.
Pretty much. It's not indicating overbought or oversold conditions, suggests there's room for movement either way. Volatility is moderate, around 2.5% daily, which isn't unusual for a large cap tech stock. So overall, long-term trend up, but near-term momentum seems to be slowing as it bumps against that resistance.
Got it. Beyond the charts, what's the general mood, the sentiment around NetEase, any recent news driving things?
Well, the recent Q2 earnings beat definitely helped sentiment. Strong game revenue, good profit growth that confirms the operational strength.
Reinforces the fundamental story.
Exactly. Also, the regulatory environment in China seems to have stabilized somewhat. That's significant because it reduces the risk of those sudden negative headlines that can really whack Chinese tech stocks.
Less uncertainty is always good.
Generally, yes. Analyst ratings reflect this positive view. The consensus is a strong buy, average rating 4 out of 5. But again, we have to temper that with those price targets suggesting limited near-term upside from here.
Right, the price target caveat.
Yeah. Insider activity. Nothing major reported in the sources. No big buys or sells. Social sentiment, what you see online, seems generally bullish. But interestingly, the broader fear and greed index is at 39 right now.
Which means?
That indicates mild fear in the overall market. So while NetEase sentiment might be okay, there's some underlying caution among market participants generally. Could be broader macro concerns or maybe lingering worries about China-specific risks.
Bit of a mixed picture on sentiment then. Okay, so solid fundamentals, fair to slightly stretched valuation, mixed technicals, and sentiment. With all that in mind, what could actually move the stock? What are the potential catalysts, short-term and long-term? And crucially, what risks should you be aware of?
Okay, let's unpack the catalysts first. Short term, the next earnings report is always a big one. That was due around August 14th. Any surprise, positive or negative, could definitely drive volatility.
Earnings season always shakes things up.
Always. Also, seasonal releases of new games or digital content. A big hit game can generate a lot of buzz and revenue. And of course, any positive regulatory updates out of China or maybe new licensing deals could give the stock a quick boost.
And looking further out, long-term.
Long-term, the big story is probably NetEase's expansion into international markets. Launching new games abroad could really open up new growth avenues beyond China.
Diversifying geographically.
Exactly. Changes in the macro environment, especially China's regulatory stance, further easing or tightening, will be absolutely crucial. Potential M&A is always on the table in tech. Acquisitions in gaming, music, education could change the game. And growth in newer areas like cloud services and AI could be significant drivers down the road.
Sounds like plenty of potential growth levers to pull. But let's talk risks. We touched on regulation, but what are the key things an investor absolutely needs to keep an eye on? The potential pitfalls.
Absolutely critical to understand the risks. Stock-specific, there's still that heavy dependence on gaming revenue, makes them vulnerable if regulations tighten specifically on gaming, or if user trends shift away from their big titles.
So concentration risk within their portfolio, even with diversification.
Somewhat, yeah. And related to that, revenue concentration is still heavily skewed towards the Chinese domestic market, limits global diversification. And competition is intense, especially from giants like Tencent.
Always looking over their shoulder.
Pretty much. Then you have the market and sector risks. Chinese ADRs, like NetEase listed in the U.S., face ongoing regulatory and political scrutiny from both China and the U.S. That's a persistent overhang.
The ADR issue, right?
Yeah. Plus, there's broader emerging market risk and tech sector volatility. A global tech sell-off or worries about emerging markets could drag NetEase down even if the company itself is doing fine. And finally, currency risk and repatriation risk, just due to that ADR structure.
Okay, a fair number of risks to balance against the potential. So let's bring it all together. What does this all mean? If you're listening right now, trying to decide if this is a good time to buy NetEase, how do we summarize the investment thesis?
Right, the so what. It really boils down to your own investment horizon, your goals, and crucially, your tolerance for risk. The sources seem to give NetEase an overall rating of about 6.5 out of 10.
6.5 out of 10. So better than average, but not a slam dunk.
That's a good way to put it. The rationale is, fundamentally, NetEase is strong. Robust growth, solid financials, leadership position in a huge digital economy. That's all positive. However, the current valuation seems fair, maybe even a bit stretched, particularly when you see those analyst price targets sitting slightly below where the stock is trading now.
So if someone's looking for like immediate explosive growth, this isn't really screaming buy me now, is it?
Probably not screaming no. For immediate aggressive upside, it looks less compelling. Near-term catalysts might favor more tactical range-bound trading rather than just buying and holding for a quick pop.
Trading within that support and resistance we talked about.
Potentially, yeah, for those comfortable with that style. The long-term thesis, however, still looks promising, especially for investors who are comfortable with China-specific risks and believe in the growth of that digital economy.
But you have to be willing to ride out the volatility.
Absolutely. Those regulatory headwinds and the general uncertainty around Chinese equities definitely temper the potential for massive outperformance, at least in the near to medium term.
So who is this stock best suited for right now? What kind of investor profile fits?
I'd say it's better suited for a long-term investor, someone specifically seeking exposure to China's digital and gaming sectors, who understands and is comfortable with those associated risks we laid out.
Someone playing the long game.
Exactly. Someone looking to hold for years, not necessarily months. Near-term traders might find the upside limited given the current price versus targets and that resistance level, unless, a big unexpected positive catalyst emerges quickly.
Right.
Short-term trading opportunities might pop up around earnings or specific news events, but that comes with higher risk, given the potentially muted upside and the broader market sentiment. It really feels like a stock for patient investors with a specific thesis about China's digital future.
That was a really fascinating look at NetEase. It's quite striking, isn't it, how a company can be so fundamentally strong, a leader in its field, but the market valuation, the analysts' views, the technical picture, it'll suggest a more cautious approach might be needed right now.
It really highlights the complexity. Strong company doesn't always equal strong immediate buy.
It definitely makes you think about how market sentiment and those broader geopolitical or regulatory factors can really shift the perception, even for a solid company. It underscores why you need to look beyond just the financials.
Absolutely. Context is everything.
So, while NetEase looks solid fundamentally, maybe with long-term promise for the patient, risk-tolerant investor, it does leave us with a question, doesn't it? In today's market, how much does any single company's strength matter if the wider sector sentiment or geopolitical factors are working against it? Is just being a good company enough, or do you also need the timing and the sector tailwinds to be right? Something to think about. Thank you for joining us for this exploration of NetEase. We sincerely hope this has given you some valuable insights to help with your own decisions.
Hope it was useful.
Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and happy investing.